Christmas time. It's hard. All right. So welcome back.
Lovely.
Well, I know I should have given up my day job. So welcome back to Scissors and Scrubs. This is take 2 of this episode.
Yeah.
Because the last episode, well, Mike, you shouldn't have gone out and you should have been doing whatever you were doing because we went out to dinner waiting on Mike.
Mm-hmm.
And Laura talked me into the third martini.
Oh, they were
and
good.
I'm incoherent in the first episode. Incoherent.
I don't know why, because I had 3 drinks as well.
Vodka kills me every time.
Wow.
Incoherent. And I'm not proud to admit that I can hear it in the Halifax episode. I can hear I'm thick-tongued. I'm heavy. I'm like, oh my God, I sound like I'm loaded. I was loaded.
You are.
But the first one, it's unintelligible.
This was bad.
It was bad.
I started it, and I'm telling Mike's like, this isn't too bad. I'm like, let's wait a minute. And then Nicole's he's like, oh yeah, no,
we can't play that.
We gotta
so
shut this off.
This is take 2.
Yeah.
So to prep for take 2, this is another hodgepodge episode.
Yes.
It's a little bit of everything, and it's a little bit of the year wrap up. So I listened to last year's New Year's episode. This is a Christmas episode, but I wanted to hear the New Year's episode. We did the cigarettes and gastric bypass, which actually is a really good episode. I forgot how good that episode is.
Listen.
It's a really good episode. So I'm listening to how happy we are and how excited we are about 2020 and what we're going to do and the things we're going to say. And I'm listening to him like, oh, if we only knew what was coming down the road, 2020 is going to suck from day 3.
I know.
So yeah, we're like, oh, we're going to build the podcast. Maybe we'll do a live show. Yeah. Fuck, that's going to happen. We can't even get out of the house.
No.
So
we couldn't even do a show together.
Yes, exactly. So 2020 tried to kill the podcast, but I won't let it. So I'm going to try again for 2021.
Okay.
To build this, which actually I was looking at the end of this morning and she's like, well, how many, because I was telling her this. I said, well, a couple of months ago I looked and it was like averaging about 500 people an episode. Mm-hmm. Now we're averaging 700 an episode. Wow. So we are growing. Mm-hmm. Slowly growing. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to talk to us because I still like to hear from you. And I was pleading at the last New Year's, please, talk to us.
We get there's randos.
There is, and I love the rando. I want more randos.
Yes.
That's what more randos.
So randos. So my son is on a Zoom class, because they're remote right now, although they go back Monday. And his friend was on a Zoom class, and he gets a screenshot from his friend on her Zoom class, and the girl is in the Zoom class with the Scissors and Scrubs sweatshirt on.
I love it.
He's like, look at this. And he texts the shot to me. And I'm like, who is that? And he's like, this girl. But I don't even really, he doesn't talk to her. And I'm like, how does she know? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, would you ask her? So he Snapchats
I'm not PG
her.
in the episodes. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm not filtering.
No. So he snaps her and she gets back. She's like, oh my God, it was on my Spotify you should listen to list.
Yay!
Yeah. So I started listening to it and I love it. But she listens to it and likes it so much she had her mother get her a sweatshirt from
my God. That's the shit I love to hear.
So some 14-year-old.
That's my Christmas gift.
This 14-year-old, I think her name is Grace.
Grace, thank you. I'm
listener.
very excited. Keep wearing the merch. Make all your other 14-year-olds who mothers don't care.
Just blank out the one swear word on it.
Oh my God, I love it.
But thanks, Grace.
I love it. Yeah. So it's just funny to listen to how excited we were, having no idea what was coming down the pike, and here we are at the other end, and oof, what a ride it's been this year. Wow. My highlight was Ireland. That was
God, thank God.
That was, if I didn't have Ireland, I probably would have just, I don't know,
I keep
drank myself to death.
We literally just got that in by the skin of our teeth.
Literally everything was shutting. We'd go to the Blarney Stone, close the next day. Cliffs and Moor, close the next. Everything was shutting Ireland down as we were there.
We picked that week. Randomly, too. We were like, that week or the next.
And we were still naive enough to think that things are only going to be shut down for 2 weeks. Yeah. We would still be there if we waited till the quarantine was over.
We'd be now residents of Ireland.
Exactly. I'd be speaking Gaelic. Yeah. We'd be working in some random hospital in Ireland. Mike and Brian would be just, I don't know, serving up Guinness to, I don't even know what they'd be doing.
Yeah, I don't know.
They'd be Ubering. They'd be Ubering people around.
Yeah. Mike could do that then.
Well, Mike did do the driving. Mike. We say that all the time. Brian will be seeing something. He's like, Mike. And if you don't know what that is, that's Laura and I sitting in the front seat with Mike on these little itty bitty tiny roads in Ireland. Me shitting my pants as the trees are whipping by my window. Mike, you're on the side of the Mike, move up.
Too close.
Then we just started drinking and forgot all about it. I just kept looking at Laura while we drove.
Much better than the Irish.
Yeah. Oh my God, so much fun over there.
Yeah.
All right, so.
Okay.
2020 has been a year. So we're going to do this Christmas episode. Again, it's a hodgepodge. So to prepare for this episode, before I got drunk, I Googled Christmas diseases. And this pops up.
Yes.
But I thought it was a disease related to Christmas.
No.
And it's not.
No.
But since we are a pseudo medical background podcast, we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
And then we're going to cover, and I was listening to the New Year's episode. I'm literally like, the 12 illnesses of Christmas. Okay. So my New Year's resolution is going to be try to say, less.
Every time I hear. Then, like, we're like on this podcast page, and people are like, so how do you edit out all your ums? I'm like, people do that? They edit out every
Let's just say, we usually do a one and done.
Pretty much.
All right? You're getting us raw. There's no editing. There's no cutting and pasting.
Quote unquote edits.
Well, yeah, he listens to make sure
like, we cannot say that. You have to take it out. Sometimes he takes it out. Not all the time.
But these websites are like, oh, I was blurring out all of this because I could hear a dripping faucet in the background. I'm like, really? Because for years we heard a refrigerator and somebody walking above our heads. Never edited it out. Like, this is it.
Maybe that's what we need to do.
You're basically sitting in the basement with us, and you're having a drink with us and talking because there is.
I like it like that.
I do too. There's no editing. There's no thinking. It's us just sitting here chatting with each other. Okay, so you're starting off with a Christmas disease.
The Christmas
That's
disease.
not really a Christmas disease.
No, but that's what it's called. All right, so the Christmas disease, or Factor IX deficiency, is a genetic disorder caused by missing or defective Factor IX, which is a clotting protein.
Made in the liver?
Mm-hmm.
Because all those factors, X factors.
Those factors are...
The liver's a liver factor.
Mm-hmm. It's like a factory.
Yeah, big time.
It is genetic, but 1/3 of cases are caused by a spontaneous mutation of the gene.
What's with the spontaneous mutations?
I don't know. It's never
all
good.
All of a sudden, your body's just like, oh, fucking
never mind.
I'm done.
Never good when you have a spontaneous
No, you don't want to mutate anything spontaneously. In fact, you don't want to mutate at all.
No, not even a little. So, Factor IX deficiency is known as Hemophilia B. Right. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says that hemophilia occurs in 1 in 5,000 live births. There are roughly 20,000 people in the U.S. that are hemophiliacs. That's it.
Now, isn't hemophilia, and I'm not just dissing anybody, isn't it related to incest as well?
I mean, there might be
because
it's a genetic.
Queen Victoria had basically populated Europe with, and they all
a lot of them had
and
hemophilia.
Then Russia's Tsar was a hemophiliac because of it.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe I'm making all that up. Go ahead.
Well, it's a genetic mutation. So
yeah. Well,
that makes
there you
sense.
go. Especially if it's sister and brother.
Yeah. I don't think the 20,000 here are.
No, I'm pretty sure they're not. Yeah. I'm sure they just mutated because of bad weather.
It does not discriminate between races and ethnicities. Hemophilia B is 4 times less common than hemophilia A.
Okay.
So let's do the genetics here.
Oh, I love genetics.
This is
like keep me awake.
Science 101.
Take it easy on me. Just breeze.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a skimmer. Just let's skim it.
I'm going bare minimum.
Yep.
Here. So X and Y chromosomes are called sex chromosomes. Women have 2 X chromosomes. Males have 1 X and 1 Y.
Why?
Side note. Yeah. Why? Side note. Jack the other day is saying something about, I don't want daughters. I just want sons. Like, I can't have daughters. Like, then they'll be wanting to date boys, and I can't let that blah, 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 blah. Going on and on and on. I'm going to name the boys. My wife can name the girls. I don't really want girls. I'm like, oh my God,
I can't believe he's even thinking of it.
Oh my God.
Cameron can't even think of a girlfriend.
Going on and on about this. And I'm like, okay, so then he says something. He's like, well, I mean, if my wife can only give me girls, I'm just going to have to find another girl, and have a boy. And I'm like, you realize that you are the determining factor, whether it's a boy or a girl. He's like, what? I'm like, XX, XY. He's like, what? I'm like, oh my God, girls have 2 X chromosomes, boys are the one that, you have X and Y, so it depends on you.
Why do I have to take out the laundry? Why do I have to cook? Why?
So I went over this with him the other day as well.
Did you make the little squares?
Like, here's the squares. Here's the peas. Here's the
Remember that? I still have no idea what that means.
Why are we doing this? Leave me alone. Okay, so males have X and Y. They determine the sex of the child. Women just have 2 X's. The X comes from your mother always, obviously, since she has 2 X's. The Y comes from your father because he has an X or a Y.
Brian must have had a lot of Ys with my 2 boys.
Mike
has
as
had
well.
a lot of Ys.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Ys in your family.
Lots of Ys around, yeah. So if a male inherits an X chromosome carrying hemophilia from his mother, he will have hemophilia.
Mm.
That also means fathers cannot pass it on to their sons because they're not giving them the X chromosome.
They're just going to give it to their daughters because they suck.
But since females have 2 X chromosomes, if they inherit the hemophilia gene from their mother, chances are the X from their father is healthy and she will just be a carrier. So it's very difficult for a woman to have hemophilia because it's on that X chromosome and she has 2. So it's very rare for both of those X's to carry.
Get passed on.
The
so
gene.
It's usually boys that are getting it.
Yes. But she'd be a carrier if she did get an X chromosome with the genetic marker on it. So she can pass it on to her kids.
Okay.
A daughter can be a hemophiliac, but it is very rare. If you're a female carrier, you have 4 possible outcomes for each pregnancy. So say I'm a carrier of factor 9 deficiency.
Mm-hmm.
My one possible outcome is I have a girl who is not a carrier.
Okay.
The second possible outcome is a girl who is a carrier.
I'm making my square.
Yes, make a square.
Okay.
The third possible outcome is a boy without hemophilia. The fourth possible is a boy with hemophilia.
Okay.
That's it. Only possibility.
Did we explain what hemophilia is?
It's a factor 9 deficiency.
No, but like what it does.
Oh, I go into that.
Okay.
All right, so that's all. We're done with the X's and Y's. Really, mostly
X's and O's.
Oh, I love that. Usually it's boys that have hemophilia. Okay, they're done. So now we have worked out how you can get it. So we're going to talk about the symptoms now.
Okay.
That's what I'm getting to. People with hemophilia B bleed longer than other people. You can bleed from cuts, dental procedures, trauma externally and internally. And the internal trauma would bleed into your joints and your muscles.
Ouch.
Yeah. How often you bleed and how serious the bleeding is depends on how much factor 9 is in your plasma, which plasma is like the clear part of your blood.
I remember that cartoon back in the day. I think it was like, it might have been on Woody Woodpecker. The guy gets in an accident with his dog, and it's like, plasma, dog plasma, and they switch the plasmas, and they can... No. Mike, do you remember that? He's not even listening
Did
to
he
me.
Turn into a dog?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I don't remember.
And the dog turns into him, and he looks at the wife. He's like, hey, go make me some M&X, will you? It's like hysterical. Plasma, dog plasma. All right, go ahead. No, Nicole, just you.
Yeah. No, just you. Normal plasma levels of factor 9 are between 50 and 150%. Levels below 50% or half of what is needed to form clot is what determines your symptoms. So, mild hemophilia B is 6% to 49% of factor 9 in your blood. So,
less than half.
Right. You have to have less than half of what you should have to be a hemophilia. These people experience bleeding after serious injury, trauma, or surgery. It is often not diagnosed until prolonged bleeding after one of these events. So, you might not know you have this until you get into like a serious car accident. You just have this prolonged bleeding. They can't figure out why. They run the factors and they see you have a factor 9 deficiency. Women with mild hemophilia B often have very heavy periods and can hemorrhage after childbirth.
Oof.
Yep.
Instead if it's rough enough, now you got to worry about bleeding to death.
The first bleeding may not happen until they are adults. Moderate hemophilia B is 1 to 5% of factor 9 in your blood. So that's very low percentage of factor 9. Yeah. These people tend to bleed after any injury. They can have spontaneous bleeds, which is the scariest part, I think, which is when they bleed without any obvious cause. They just start having a nosebleed or whatever.
And it doesn't stop.
It just takes a very long time to stop.
Scary that would be.
No, just all of a sudden you just stop bleeding. Yeah. And then severe hemophilia B is less than 1% of factor 9 in your blood.
Which is basically you have no clotting.
Obviously, they bleed after injury and can have spontaneous bleeds frequently. And those spontaneous bleeds can often bleeds into their joints and muscles. Just spontaneously. You didn't get in a car accident, break something, and you just bleed. They diagnose hemophilia B by running an assay, which is a clotting factor test to determine what type of hemophilia you have and its severity. They'll take a detailed history and ask about family history of bleeding. They will also run tests that evaluate if you can form clot and how long your clotting time is. Those tests are called PT and PTT. We run these all the time.
Right, at work.
To see, like, okay, are they going to clot soon? You don't want them to clot if you do a vascular
they want you
surgery.
to bleed
Right.
more, and then after they're done, then they want you to clot quicker, and so they actually mess with your blood a lot in surgery.
Yeah.
Give them heparin, give them protamine, give them heparin, give them protamine.
Fix it, don't fix it.
Yeah.
There are federally funded hemophilia treatment centers all over the country.
That's shocking.
Mm-hmm. Never heard of it.
Love it.
They provide comprehensive care from specialized hematologists, nurses, physical therapists, social workers, dentists, and dietitians. Because, like, every facet of your life is affected by this.
Well, and you also figure, too, there's foods that either are going to make your blood thinner,
yes,
or they make your blood thicker. Right. So that's where your dietitian comes in.
Mm-hmm. And I thought, like physical therapists, that makes sense. Like, they have to be, like, so, you know, you have to do things a certain way so you're not bleeding into your joints. Yep. The main treatment is a concentrated factor IX product, which is called clotting factor. Recombinant factor products are made in labs with the use of DNA technology, and they allow patients to not use factor IX from human plasma. So they make up these
genetic
recombinant factor.
synthetic.
Synthetic things that are DNA technology, so you don't have to take factor IX from actual other living people.
Mm-hmm.
Human factor IX is still used, but about 75% of the hemophilia community uses a recombinant factor IX product. So they do use it in some cases, but 3/4 of the people that are treated with the recombinant factor or the genetic lab-made factor. These factor therapies are given IV. Patients with severe hemophilia can be on a routine treatment regimen called prophylaxis. It maintains enough clotting factor in their blood to prevent bleeds. The Medical and Scientific Advisory Council of the National Hemophilia Foundation
That's a mouthful.
Recommends prophylaxis as optimal treatment for children with severe hemophilia B. So they just keep them on these factors to make sure there's always clotting in their blood.
Because they'll bleed to death.
Yes. Aminocaproic acid is an antifibrinolytic that is recommended before dental procedures. And
I bleed like nobody's business on a good day. And I clot just fine when they bring out the hook. I used to call my dentist Captain Hook, that Tata hook thing. Oh, it hurts my gums would ache for days.
I can't imagine how much they bleed.
Oh my God.
I can't imagine. And they also use it to treat mouth and nose bleeds. Antifibrinolytics prevent the breakdown of clots. So you're on this regimen to make sure you have some clotting factor, and then these antifibrinolytics make sure that the clots don't break down.
Mm-hmm.
The MASAC, which I just went over the name and I'm not saying it again, recommends that a dose of clotting factor be taken first to form clot, then the aminocaproic acid to prevent the clot to preserve the clot that is made. These people also need blood transfusions because of the loss of blood they experience when they do have bleeds.
Oh my God, what a nightmare if they needed surgery.
It's like a whole. Can you imagine the workup and the time beforehand it takes to get everything leveled?
I can say in all of my years doing this, I've never had to operate on a hemophiliac. I can't imagine what that would be like.
I believe one time I had a hemophiliac that was a person who would not take blood products.
Oh my God.
It was like, I remember them going into it like, okay, this is the plan. This is what we're doing. This is what their lab values are. This is what we're, like, it was in...
There are some religions who don't believe in receiving blood products, which shocks me because that same religion is okay with receiving organs that produce blood or clean blood.
Yes, but it's something about them.
It makes no sense to me.
I don't
know.
So
they will come in for surgery, and when they come in for surgery and you know it's like a big case, I think one of them was having a liver transplant, and I was like, and we're not going to get blood. It can be a disaster.
Yeah. It is a lot of work beforehand just to make sure everything's set.
And a lot of consents, like, you could die. You know you could die, and you're okay with this. Yep.
Yep. So there's some fast facts about hemophilia.
I love some fast facts.
Mm-hmm. Or just about hemophilia, I guess. Worldwide incidence is unknown, but estimated at more than 400,000 people.
That's a lot.
Yep. About 75,000... Nope. About 75% of hemophiliacs around the world receive inadequate or no treatment.
Well, they're probably in countries that don't have this synthetic.
Right. They don't have the labs and doctors. And there is no cure for hemophilia. About 90% of Americans with severe hemophilia became infected with AIDS in the 1980s.
Yeah. Brian White.
Yep. When blood and plasma donations were not properly screened for HIV. 90% of Americans with hemophilia. That's insane. Since 1998, when the CDC's blood safety surveillance system was put into place, they have found no cases of HIV or hepatitis infections associated with clotting factor products among hemophilia patients.
Thank God.
Yes. So since they started the screenings, no hemophiliacs have gotten HIV or hepatitis from blood transfusions.
Well, I'm hung up on the no cure. I wonder if you
Mhm.
gave him a liver transplant, because that's where it's made.
I
Would
don't know.
would the new liver produce
Right.
the factor 10?
I don't know. 9.
9,
Mm.
7, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Von Willebrand's disease, which our dear friend has,
Mm-hmm.
is another genetic disorder where the blood does not clot properly. It is caused by a deficient or defective blood protein, von Willebrand's factor. This is the most common bleeding disorder, which I find funny because until she said she had it, I didn't really
Never heard
hear
of it.
it.
Hockey ties.
It affects 1% of the U.S. population. Type 1 is the mildest form, and that accounts for 70% of the cases. Symptoms include frequent nosebleeds, easy bruising, and excessive bleeding following surgery or dental work. It affects men and women equally, which hemophilia does not.
Right.
So why is it called the Christmas disease?
So, Laura, I would love to know. I was just going to ask you
I'm
that
getting to
question.
it.
Why is it called the Christmas disease?
Well, in 1949, a 2-year-old, Stephen Christmas.
Man, that's a name, huh?
I know.
I would have named it Santa.
Santa Christmas.
Santa Christmas.
Noel Christmas.
Noel. Nicholas.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Papa Jiju.
Was taken to the Hospital for Sick Children in Toronto, where he was diagnosed with hemophilia, which explained his long history, although he was only 2 years old, of recurrent and unexplained episodes of bleeding. There was no treatment then. His parents just watched over him and prayed nothing would happen to him to make this kid bleed, so I'm sure they had him wrapped in bubble wrap. When he was 5, the family went to London to visit extended family, and while they were there, he has a bleed. He gets admitted to a hospital that by chance was connected to the Oxford Hemophilia Center.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's Providence.
Rosemary Briggs and R.G. McFarlane were a pioneering team of coagulation researchers.
I want to be a pioneering team of some. We're pioneering teams of medical podcasts.
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
They did not see a deficiency of factor 8 in Stephen's blood, which is hemophilia. That was what they always looked for, factor 8 deficiency. But they discovered a deficiency in factor 9 in his blood. So they then divided hemophilia into 2 groups, A and B. A is the factor 8 deficiency and B is the factor 9 deficiency, or as it's still called, Christmas disease.
Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Stephen could only be treated with blood and plasma transfusions during his life because it happened a while ago. So there was none of this DNA, synthetic
RNA and
stuff. He became a medical photographer. He worked at the hospital he was treated at in Toronto.
Oh,
but
given back.
Yeah, but since he could only be treated by blood and plasma transfusions during his life for his hemophilia B, he unfortunately contracted AIDS and died at the age of 46.
Oh, that's sad.
I know. And that is the Christmas disease.
That's terribly interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Merry Christmas.
Lots of
That's my
X's and
gift
Y's.
to this. That's something.
8s and 9s.
Yeah. 10, 7. I know there's a factor 7 that does something. I can't remember what.
sure.
I know they always hear factor 7. All right. Well, we are moving on to the illnesses of Christmas. Now, in my drunken episode, I used a different list. I like this one much better.
Okay.
It is also, like this episode, a hodgepodge of random shit that can happen to you at Christmas. And one of them I'm going to tell you, you could be like, really? We're going to talk about that? Because as I'm looking at the names. And another one is just like, what? Okay. So, should we go from 12 to 1? Just to spice
yes.
it up a little bit?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would.
So we'll start with number 12.
Okay.
Excuse me. Obesity, which
Well.
we can all relate to. Christmas lunch is a meal we all look forward to. Christmas lunch.
Dinner.
I'm Italian. It's the 7 fishes at night. That's what we do.
Well, that's Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no such thing.
I think they mean
lunch.
Christmas Day. You
As
eat
far as I'm
early.
concerned, Christmas is over after we've opened the gifts. We're done. Christmas, so I moved on.
I'm good with brunch.
Yeah, I could do it, but it's Christmas Eve. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's only natural that we let go of the reins a little and consume more on this special occasion than we normally would.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I let go of the reins somewhere about the week before Halloween.
Yeah.
And I don't regain the reins till way after New Year's.
Mm-hmm.
Obesity is a condition in the rise in the UK. Apparently, this is a British.
It's also on the rise in the U.S.
Yeah, it's everywhere, and And overindulging on one meal obviously isn't going to have that much of an impact on a person's BMI. However, it's easy for overeating to become a habit over the Christmas period.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because everywhere you go, Sam brought in cookies last night.
Oh.
Sam's the girl who lit her hair on fire with a sparkler, in case you forgot.
Her mother laughed at her.
2 summers ago.
Mm-hmm.
She made these, they were the Italian cookies with frosting, but there was a lot of lemon.
Oh, yeah, she said she uses lemon instead of...
They were delish. Yeah. Delish, Sam. So,
my mother's coming over today to make our...
Well, we're doing pizzelles tonight in Struveli's.
Well, we're making Mussolini cookies. So.
Laura, that's politically incorrect.
That's the only Italian.
As your Italian friend, I'm insulted.
Yeah, the only Italians, my grandmother, whose last name was Conti.
Could you call them the Capone
and
cookies?
And her sisters, one of which is a D'Agostino, could come up with.
Yeah, no, we can come up with other names.
Was Mussolini.
But we're doing the pizzelles and the Strudeli's tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's when a person continues this habit into the new year and beyond that diet-related issues become a risk.
It
Hence
does.
why I'll be doing Arbonne shortly after New Year.
January 4th.
Yes. Yeah. It's always going to be more manageable to be consistent with good eating habits than to go through the binge and detox cycle many adopt over the winter months, i.e. me.
Mm-hmm.
Try to stay on top of your calorie and sugar intake on the other side of Christmas and make sure you eat as balanced a diet as... It's impossible. It's impossible.
So there's an ice cream place in Melrose, Kennedy's, and it's delicious. It was Jack's first job. And they make these stackable things that I love, that I usually get like vanilla soft serve with peanut butter sauce through it and then Reese's Pieces.
You should see the ecstasy on her face as she talks
They're
about
so
it.
good. So then they put on their Facebook thing that they were making these Christmas ones.
Is it amazing?
It has vanilla and chocolate soft serve and then a thing of peppermint stick ice cream, hot
like
fudge. Well, I do, but it's Christmas season. Hot fudge, candy cane pieces, Jimmy's, more soft serve ice cream, whipped cream on top. It has a little like Santa candy thing on it. So I got them for the kids on Thursday night.
How many have you eaten since?
I've had 2.
Okay.
And that was Thursday and today was Saturday. And they're like,
I've had 15.
They're like this big. I'm talking, that was Thursday.
They're
it's Saturday morning.
In size. Let's just say that. They're significant.
Yeah. So good. I went back the next day. She's like, oh, you're back. I'm like, yep.
The only blessing that COVID has brought, it's brought a few, I'll discuss. But one of them is nobody's bringing food to the lounge because nobody wants to dip into it, which I am so pathetic. I don't care what you drop on that table. I'm going to eat it.
You know me. I can only eat from people's houses that I know.
Somebody, one of our girlfriends that we work with, actually, she graduated nursing school. So yesterday, one of her friends delivered pizzas and arancini, little rice balls.
Oh, I love rice balls.
To the lounge, which of course I had to have a piece of pizza, but I couldn't do the rice balls. I was like, I'm going over the top if I eat the rice balls. So one of the other nurses,
done the rice balls
who's
first.
like 24 years old, I said, come here. Go have a rice ball for me. Let me watch. Oh, yeah? I can taste it. I can taste it as you eat it. I said, so she eats it. She's like, oh, that was good. I said, have another one. Have another one. I'm just going to watch you eat. As I'm shoving the Italian cookies in my mouth, I'm like, I can't have the Italian cookies and the rice balls. So I guess I was limiting my
You did a good job.
Yeah. Okay, number 11. Stress. I will say, I would love Christmas so much more if we didn't have to exchange gifts. Shopping-related stress is oh my God. Thank God I didn't try to say this word when I was drunk. Yeah. Exponentially more prominent during December than any other time of the year. Shocker. In the space of 1 month, you have Black Friday that runs right up to Christmas itself. And the January sales season on the other side of Christmas.
Ooh.
Or Boxing Day. This is clearly an English article.
Yes.
Boxing Day. A combination guaranteed to send even the most... The advertisement went right over the rest of the sentence. So I don't know what it sends the most up into, but apparently it sends us all into a tizzy.
Mm-hmm.
Getting the Christmas shopping out of the way as early as possible is one way to circumvent the stress of rushing around. I have a cousin that literally, like before Thanksgiving, had her fucking tree up and every gift wrapped. I was like, that's mental illness. Who does that?
No, that's
You're lucky. I can't wrap anything anyway. We got the new cat.
Oh, God.
The bottom half of my tree, empty. He was on the chair, like batting practice. Whack, whack, whack. Ornaments going across the room. Brian, the chair's like in the middle of the room now because he's like losing his shit on the Christmas tree.
Oh my God.
I'm surprised he hasn't ended up in it. But the bottom cleared. And then he drinks all the water out of the tree.
Oh.
Yeah, he's disgusting.
Yeah.
So try to get your Christmas shopping done as early as possible.
I do. See, if I start early, this is my problem. I get things and then I hide them and then
then
I
you
forget
forget.
I got them.
That's what I do.
And then I keep buying things and I'm like, oh my God, they have 845,000 gifts. Like, this is
I
obscene.
went into the closet to put some more gifts. I'm like, oh, I forgot I bought that.
Yeah.
I guess Karen does have it.
And then I like on Christmas, I'll forget I bought something in October. And I'm like, I got something else for you. I got something else. I'm like, oh shit, it's in the like I forget. Like you can't go too early because then you forget what you have.
And you spend way more money.
Yeah.
Then we have number 10, sad, also known as seasonal affect disorder or quote, the winter blues.
Mm-hmm.
I get that anyway, with or without Christmas.
Well, because it's dark at 4.
And the thing though is Christmas brightens up that part.
Yes.
I can handle it now. It's January, February, March, halfway through April, maybe most of May. Sometimes in June, you're like, it doesn't really get nice here till the end of May.
Mm-hmm.
I am not good with that. I'm
Yeah.
not okay in March, which is why Ireland was in March. And who knows what this month, March, will bring.
Yeah.
Hopefully something we can all get out. Okay. It is a condition characterized by feelings of depression during the winter months.
Mm-hmm.
It is only recently that seasonal affect disorder has become recognized as an illness and is thought to be the cause of lack of natural light affecting melatonin production.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I can go to work, tell them I have SAD and I have to be out till May.
Can I get a leave?
I think we should both do it.
Oh, let's try it.
You know, we have people who go out all the time, so I think we should try.
I mean, it is sad.
It's a
thing.
Obviously, it's clinically diagnosed
Yes.
as a mental illness, so I have it. It is possible to limit the effects of SAD. Please tell me how.
Fake
It involves
lights.
spending more times outdoor during daylight hours when it's below 10. And eating a balanced diet inclusive of fruit and veg, clearly a European,
it is European.
fruit and veg, to help keep vitamin D levels healthy.
Oh,
Yeah, nope, I want to eat cake and pizza.
I know, but it's dark and cold. You want to eat?
Yeah, you need cheese. That's what
pretty
it's
much. And crackers.
Cold and cheese go together.
Yes.
Mac and cheese on nachos,
Mhm.
cheese on anything.
Ooh,
That's-
nachos.
We went out to dinner for the spa's Christmas party. And usually when I go out to eat, I get fish because I don't cook a lot of it at home. And they had this great fish dish. It had lobster, this and that. Then they had chicken parm with spinach. And I was like, and it's snowing. The night we go, so I'm like, oh, clearly it's going to be the chicken. And I sucked the whole thing down with homemade cavatelli. Couldn't have been happier.
Yeah.
And I wonder why I'm clearly up probably about 10 pounds. My ass is bigger than the couch. All right, number 9. You ready for number 9?
Can't wait.
Give us a stab in the dark what you might think number 9 might be. Come up with something.
I'm trying. Violence.
Malaria.
Oh no! Doesn't go
Didn't think that was going to be
No.
the one. Malaria. Malaria is a Christmas illness. Why?
Why?
More and more people are choosing to get away from the cold winter climate of the UK and celebrate Christmas in a tropical location.
Wow.
However, this presents its own unique set of hazards.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously the English are doing better because I couldn't afford to go away during Christmas. No. Before jetting off to any tropical region, it is vital to do your research on the area first and see if there is a risk of any particular types of infection. For malaria, tablets are available which can help prevent infection and for other illnesses. There are various vaccinations available too. So, we were talking the other night at work too in the lounge. It's getting a little quiet because, as we all know, COVID's back on the rise, so they're shutting us down. So it's getting a little slower at night. And we start talking about bugs and shit in your skin.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the nurses who worked in neuro was telling us she had been doing a brain thing. She's like, literally, they were pulling worms out of the woman's brain. And she said they were on my back table. And she's like, and they're crawling around. And I was like, yes, I'm afraid to go away to one of those countries where like the fly lands in your skin and hatches an egg and then they hatch out of your arm. Yep, it's like alien. No.
Worms in your brain.
Worms in your brain, on your back table. Worms on your back table. So this same nurse, I have to tell you this because I was cracking up laughing. The same nurse told us a story last night about one of our cardiac surgeons. He was mean. That's the only thing that he was mean. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you know who it is.
Mm-hmm.
So he is in a room, and at this time, which we don't do anymore, the nursing assistants would come down and they'd hold the heart because we couldn't use a retractor like every other hospital in the world. They actually would have somebody hold the heart while they would sew and fix the heart. So he does not know who the nursing assistant is. Mm-hmm. And at the time, they gave him one of the new staplers that they had come out. It was the staple that used to look like a gun. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. So he looks at it. He's like, what is this stapler? What is this thing? And to see her tell the story, I was peeing my pants. And he's shooting it like a gun. He's like, what is this? And he's up in the air, boom, boom, like a wild cowboy. Ting, ting, ting. She's like, staples are flying everywhere. Ting, ting, ting. She's like, what is this? I don't want to use this. Ting, 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 ting. And he's shooting this thing. I am choking on my lunch as she's telling me this. And then puts the thing down. He looks at her. He goes, what's your name? She's like, Caitlin. What's your last name? And she says her last name, which coincides with one of the other prominent surgeons we work with, who happened to be the chief of this cardiac surgeon when he was an intern. He's like, oh. And he's looking around the room, and he goes back and he operates. He calls that surgeon. He's like, hey, Joe, your daughter was in my room today, and she's going to come in home and tell you a story about how I was behaving. And it's all true. It's all true. Pew, 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 pew. Was dying. I was so dying laughing. It was hysterical. Like, it literally looked like a gun. Yeah. And I could see him shooting it around the room.
It was like the GYN stapler.
Yes, that's the one where I almost got in a physical altercation with one of the neuroresidents.
Yes, they needed the GYN.
Because he had me running all over. Then I go and get it. It took me 15 minutes. I come back. Because where have you been? Getting you a fucking stapler that you don't need. Ugh. We were toe-to-toe. Toe-to-toe. I'm pretty sure I heard what a bitch when I left the room. And I earned that. Okay. Number 8 is hypothermia. I'm going to have to make up what this is about because, again, the advertisement went right over what I should be reading. So I'm going to say while you're out caroling, you're out shopping, be sure to wear warm clothing because you don't want to get hypothermia while you're out. And we know what hypothermia is because we're actually going to talk about that. Some unfortunate hypothermic incidents and frostbite in a January episode that we're going to cover. So hypothermia, your body temp is getting low because you've been out in the cold. You're not drinking enough hot chocolate with butterscotch schnapps.
That'll keep you nice.
You're not keeping yourself warm. So stay away from it. So I had to that was just ad lib.
Okay.
Number 7, frostbite, which I was going to talk about, but since it was number 7, I didn't.
Right.
Okay. So number 7 is a Christmas illness, frostbite. Skiing is a popular choice during the festive season for those looking to spend some time away. Frostbite, however, is a real risk for those exposed to freezing temperature.
It is.
What are you skiing in, a fucking bikini? You should be in, like, if I could have heated socks, I would.
Jack got frostbite on his cheek one time.
I believe it.
And he's like, I'm like, that doesn't look good. You really need to make sure you cover it. It was like gray. This one area was like so gray. I'm like, you really, like, he's red and then gray. I'm like, you get frostbite.
Did it just heal on its own?
It did eventually heal on its own.
You know the hands and feet warmers?
Yeah.
I look like a sausage. Like they're packed on everything. They're 40 on my feet, 30 in my hands, and I'm still not warm enough. Which just means my skiing days are coming to an end.
Yes, it's getting miserable. I'd rather sit in the lodge
and wait for everybody else. Common signs are the extremities turning red or purple and feelings of pain or numbness in the affected area. If you are planning on skiing in this winter holiday, which there's no snow right now, be prepared. Once you've got all the equipment you need, make sure you've got the right warm clothing too. Excuse me. Number 6. Ear infection. We're going with the whole cold thing here.
I was like, what?
So if you're caroling, you gotta have some earmuffs. Because cold weather itself is not the cause of ear infections per se. Literally says per se. But opportune infections of the throat, which are generally more common in winter, can travel up the eustachian tube and cause infections of this kind. Furthermore, going out into the cold without appropriate headwear can make the associated discomfort worse. Again, the best defense is to look after your immune system. Wrap up warm.
I used to get raging ear infections when I was little. Like all that, I always had strep and ear infections. To this day, if I go out in the cold, my ears kill me.
My ears hurt, and I never had that.
Oh my God, they kill like no one's business. My ear, no matter what I have on, if it's cold out, my ears.
I have to if I walk the beach in the wintertime, I have to have my ears covered because my eardrums hurt.
Yeah,
they actually hurt.
It's brutal.
All right, Laura, here's another one.
Okay.
Number 5. What do you think is going to happen?
Oh God, I don't know. We went from malaria to ear infections.
Well, we're going to go from malaria through ear infections straight to chlamydia.
Okay.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Wow.
Merry Christmas. Here's a little chlamydia for your stocking. Alcohol poisoning isn't the only danger when getting carried away on a night out.
Oh, little holiday party.
I have a bow on. Or at the office party. These office parties, I'd like to meet.
I need to work in an office so I can go to somebody's office party.
We're going back to 1958 where this is when this shit happened because I have yet to see an office party where this is happening.
Well, I've never been to an office party.
No,
so.
because we have stupid random parties. Oh, we don't have any at all.
No.
Studies have shown that couples enjoying a chance encounter are much less likely to use protection when under the influence of alcohol.
You're at the office party, not planning on it. It just happens.
And don't forget, you have to see him on Monday. Using protection, such as a condom, is a vital tool in preventing the spread of bacterial STIs, such as chlamydia.
Mm-hmm.
And then they give you the chlamydia website.
Oh.
As getting tested regular. Okay, number 4. Which again, the ad went right over.
Huh.
No, now we've gone to allergic reaction. This makes more sense because
is
most of the Christmas cookies are covered in nuts.
Welcome to my world.
That's what she said. The traditional Christmas dinner certainly presents hazards for those with severe food allergies. Prawn cocktails, also known as shrimp, shellfish allergies, and sprouts roasted with chestnuts. Okay, I know what chestnuts are, but what kind of fucking sprouts are you roasting?
I think Brussels sprouts.
Not alfalfa sprouts?
No, I think Brussels.
Not bean sprouts?
I think Brussels.
Nut allergies are just 2 potential triggers. Oh, so shellfish allergies and nut allergies are just 2 potential triggers which those prone to anaphylaxis are to experience.
Mm-hmm.
Being Italian, we only do the fish on Friday, on Christmas Eve, so we got to be careful of that prawn allergy.
Yes.
So be careful of what you're cooking in the foods you present to your guests.
Please. Just let us know if you put chestnuts in something.
Chestnuts.
Why would you do that anyways?
Anaphylaxis. Food poisoning would be number 3.
Ooh.
Cramming the oven of food on Christmas morning comes with its dangers.
It does.
Raw and undercooked meat, particularly turkey and chicken, is a major cause of salmonella poisoning. If you'd like to know what these actually do, listen to our Thanksgiving episode of 2019.
Yes.
The best way to avoid falling foul of food poisoning, is to make sure everything you serve is cooked through. That's kind of common sense.
I mean, you would think, but some people just don't know.
Well, like you go to your grandmother's house and dementia's setting in.
And she can't really see well if the chicken's pink or white.
It's got like worms in it and she can't see it. Make a plan of what needs to go in the oven and when. And remember that overloading can reduce oven temp and affect cooking times.
True.
I had a family member who used to like stack dishes like I've never seen because the kitchen was 100 years old. And I was like, oh, that doesn't look safe. Right. Number 2, alcohol poisoning.
Yes.
This is a pretty rough Christmas if you're poisoned yourself.
This might bring, the rates might go up.
One hell of a Christmas party. One eventuality of nearly every end-of-year office party is that someone will be overzealous in adhering to the merry directive when having a merry Christmas time. But alcohol poisoning isn't a condition to take lightly, Laura.
No, it's not.
It's important to remember that the liver can only filter out around 1 unit of alcohol per hour. And I'm pretty sure if you have the Christmas disease, probably even less. The more and the quicker you drink, the riskier it is for your body. So remember to pace yourself, even if everybody else isn't doing the same.
Yes.
But the problem is, if you're going to a family function,
you need to
i.e.
drink.
one of mine, and everybody hates each other, you have to drink quickly to get the buzz on to deal with everybody for the next couple of hours. Maybe the alcohol poisoning would bring everybody together.
Maybe.
You know, one common cause. The number 1 illness of Christmas. What do you think it might be? Well, this year I would like to substitute COVID for flu.
Oh, good one. Yes.
Perhaps the most common of all winter ailments, a bout of flu will usually pass within a week or so, but it is by no means pleasant when in action. Stopping flu is all about looking after your immune system and limiting your risk of influenza. Make sure you're getting enough sleep and plenty of fruit and veg in your diet to keep your body's
some veg soup
That's
today.
why there's veg soup all the time over there.
Get some veg soup.
They have the SAD, so everybody's inside getting alcohol poisoning, eating fruit and veg in a bread bowl. And ask your doctor about a vaccination.
Yes, please.
So this year, the number 1 cause of Christmas illness would be COVID. Which is why everybody's having a nice, quiet, small Christmas at home.
Yes.
With nobody else.
Right.
And the Christmas gift from the CDC this year is vaccinations.
Vaccines for everybody.
I feel like Happy New Year 2020 should have been like, Happy New Year. Wah, wah, wah. So, Merry Christmas. Hopefully it's not a wah, wah, wah.
No.
But we'll all be getting our vaccines. No matter how I feel about it, I'm probably going to end up getting it. Because I think it needs to be done. And if it means I can get this friggin' mask off my face and I can actually walk into a restaurant like a normal person.
Just think maybe next year we can go like out.
Yes. Maybe you know what? This is my New Year's resolution. I am going to make sure the trauma team has a Christmas party next year.
Next year.
A real one where we get alcohol poisoning, chlamydia,
Yeah.
malaria, all of it.
All of it.
I'm going all 10 on that list.
Yes.
I want all of it for
All
our
of
next Christmas
We're
party.
going to go hard.
Earaches, frostbite. We'll have it outside.
Okay.
We could do that this year and have it outside.
Yeah, I mean,
But
this year is
I'm-
definitely a
I'm
frostbite.
sorry,
year.
all the illnesses, they're all in there. And we'll just check them off as we come in the room.
Go hard.
Who would I randomly have sex with, though? I don't know, because there's not really money in that hospital. And I'd end up divorced, so that would be bad
Yeah.
for 2022.
I mean, you don't have to get chlamydia, just somebody at the party.
All right.
Right.
All right.
I mean, it
invite
doesn't have
all
to be
the
you.
young kids. We do have a lot of young people coming
Yeah.
on.
They'll get
Watch
chlamydia
out, guys.
for us.
Somebody
It's
get
fine.
chlamydia, please. We're going to have like chlamydia bingo and see who gets it first.
Who is it?
Who's got Susie? You won. Bingo. You get penicillin. So this is wrapping up the year of Scissors
Wow.
and Scrubs 2020,
Yeah.
which we're shockingly still alive on the other end of it.
I know.
And I mean the podcast, not
Yeah.
us in general. We are going to try to reevaluate our goals for next year.
Mhm.
And if the world opens up again, I'm telling you, Laura, I'm dragging you on stage.
Okay.
We're going to do something.
Okay.
Maybe we'll have a healthcare workers night and find some brewer around here to sponsor us.
That'd be nice.
Would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I know one of the breweries has a nice, lovely parking lot we could use.
Ooh,
It's big.
it is.
And they're
know.
sending us all kinds of lovely beer. Well,
Mhm.
not us. Him.
Sending
Our influencer. Also known as Mike.
how that man is an influencer.
I know. Well, Vienna was like, Mike's an influencer? I'm like, yeah. Really? I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah. So you might have a new friend.
Look at him. How?
Come on. Who couldn't he influence?
How?
Come on. Come on.
I don't understand it.
So cheer up. There's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
2020 is almost over.
2020 is almost over.
Mhm.
We got some fun stuff for next year. We're going to talk about,
Mhm.
death, dismemberment, frostbite, love it,
Always.
eating each other. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
And I don't mean, that's another funny story, right?
Okay.
So we're talking about residents and med students passing out in
Yes.
a room, right? So this was years ago. Same nurse with the choo-choo, choo-choo story is telling the story. She's like, I'm sitting at a table and they're all talking about, residents passing out and this and that. And one of the older nurses there, she's like, oh my God, back in my day, I can't tell you how many residents went down on me. And clearly didn't get the innuendo
No.
meant with that. And my girlfriend's like, I spit my lunch across the table. The woman had no idea what she just said. I was like, oh my God. If I told you how many residents went down on me. Oh, girl, you must have something to go down. So,
Oh.
thanks for listening.
Yes.
Have a very Merry Christmas,
Very
a Happy
Merry Christmas.
Hanukkah, and every other holiday that is celebrated at this time.
Mhm.
Be safe, be
Mhm.
merry, make the best of it. Next year will be better.
Yes.
It really is not the trailer for 2021. We're going to have a good year.
Yes.
So, bye.
Merry Christmas.
Like, subscribe, rate, and review the Scissors and Scrubs podcast on whatever podcast app you listen to us on. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Scissors and Scrubs. And email us any of your stories or thoughts to scissorsandscrubs@gmail.com.